football, things move incredibly fast. One moment you're dreaming about playing for a certain club, and the next you're wishing you never made that move in the first place. We've seen it happen before. One of the clearest examples in recent years was Alexis Sánchez. Not long after leaving Arsenal for Manchester United in 2018, he reportedly regretted the decision and even wished he could go back. And right now, there are players going through that exact same situation. Players who deep down probably wish they could turn back time and reverse their transfers. So today, we're taking a look at 7 players who might be feeling exactly that. Let's get into it. We'll start with Federico Chiesa. His move to Liverpool hasn't gone anywhere near how he imagined. His first season was completely ruined by injuries, giving him one of the worst possible starts to life at a new club. Now, to be fair, his fitness issues seem to be behind him. He's been available for most of the current season, but despite that, his situation hasn't improved. The minutes just aren't there. Across 2 seasons, he's barely started any league games, and even when opportunities open up, he still struggles to get meaningful time on the pitch. At this point, it genuinely feels like he's not part of the manager's long-term plans, and that's a tough reality to accept. What makes it even more telling is that there were attempts for him to leave and return to a familiar environment, but those moves didn't materialize. If the decision was entirely up to him, there's a strong chance he would have already gone back.
Chiesa se la mette sul sinistro, tira, gol! Gol! Gol!
Next, Mason Mount. This is a move that came with huge expectations, but has delivered almost nothing. Leaving Chelsea, the club where he grew up and became a fan favorite, was already a massive decision. Forcing that move made it even more dramatic, and then choosing to join a direct rival, that only made things worse in the eyes of the fans. But the biggest issue isn't the reaction, it's what happened after. Since the move, injuries have completely disrupted his career. He's struggled for rhythm, consistency, and impact, and what's interesting is that he rarely had these kinds of injury problems before. Sometimes a change in environment just doesn't work out, and when nothing seems to go right after such a big decision, it's hard not to look back and wonder, what if now?
Go for goal himself here, and he finds it. It's brilliant from Mason Mount.
Trent Alexander-Arnold. On paper, moving to Real Madrid looks like a dream step forward, but football isn't always that simple. At Liverpool, he was more than just a player. He was a leader, a guaranteed starter, and someone deeply connected to the club and its fans. That level of comfort and importance is hard to replace. Since the move, things haven't been as smooth. Injuries have become more frequent, competition for places is tougher, and his role isn't as secure as it once was. And then there's the international situation. Being left out of key squads, especially in a World Cup year, raises serious questions, because when a transfer starts affecting your place on the biggest stage in football, that's when doubts begin to creep in. Maybe not publicly, but definitely internally.
Alexander-Arnold, wow! Oh, my goodness me.
Next, Lucas Chevalier. Not long ago, he was being talked about as a future #1 for his country. There was real excitement around his development, but since his move, everything has slowed down. Game time has become limited, his role has diminished, and suddenly, he's no longer in the same conversation he once was. For any player, especially a goalkeeper, consistency is everything. Sitting on the bench might bring trophies, but it doesn't build a career. And deep down, there's always that thought, yeah, would things have been better if he stayed where he was playing regularly? Now let's talk about Nicholas Füllkrug. His move came with big expectations. The idea was clear: lead the line, score goals, and become a key figure. But things haven't played out that way. Instead of being a central striker, he's been used in different roles, sometimes even deeper on the pitch. And while versatility can be useful, it doesn't always suit every player. For a striker, confidence comes from goals, from being in the right positions, from playing naturally. When that changes, everything changes. And when you combine that with team struggles and uncertain future prospects, it's easy to see why he might be having second thoughts.
But not now! Werder Bremen and
Joshua Zirkzee. A talented player with a lot to offer, but his move hasn't gone as planned. Opportunities have been limited, performances have been inconsistent, and overall he hasn't been able to establish himself. Sometimes it's not even about ability, it's about timing, trust, and the system you're in. At his previous club he had all of that. Now, not so much. And when a move also impacts your international chances, it makes the situation even more frustrating.
To Zirkzee on the left foot. That is a brilliant shot. The equalizer for Joshua Zirkzee.
Finally, Kylian Mbappé. This one might sound surprising at first. After all, moving to one of the biggest clubs in the world is something most players dream of. But football is emotional, and sometimes the story matters just as much as the success. Watching his former club continue to grow, compete, and chase history without him, there has to be a small part of him that wonders what it would have been like if he stayed, to lead that project, to be the one who brings ultimate glory, because some achievements just feel different when they're personal, and maybe, just maybe, that thought crosses his mind more often than people think. So there you have it, 7 players who might be wishing they could go back and change one big decision. Because in football, not every transfer works out the way you expect. Sometimes the move that looks perfect turns out to be the one you regret the most. And now the question is, which of these players do you think regrets their move the most? And are there others who should be on this list?